Hi, I'm Christian Brindle with Christian Brindle Insurance Services.
And I'm Glen Shelton with Lead Heroes and Hire Heroes.
And this is Taco
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Let's talk about insurance. This is a show all about growing your business as an insurance agent and bringing you up-to-date marketing trends. We have great guests.
We have sales experts. We'll talk about all things pertaining to senior insurance and other lines of insurance. We're trying to help you grow your business, and we are excited that you are here to watch our content.
If you enjoy this episode, make sure to like the episode, subscribe to any platform that you enjoy to listen on, make sure to leave a 5-star review if it allows it, and we'll see you on the episode.
We'll see you in there.
Someone asked me, they were like, hey, how do you guys come up with topics for Taco Tuesday?
I get that question all the time.
And I was like, Christian and I just talk so much about everything that's going on in our businesses that usually stuff kind of comes up organically all the time,
Yes.
Like sometimes we have to really sit down and brainstorm, but usually we don't even have to do that.
Right. I mean, there's not a lot of writer's block.
So that being said, is there a topic that you feel we haven't covered on Taco Tuesday while we're here in person that you think would be maybe a little spicy, maybe a little interesting, maybe something revealing that our audience would be like, whoa, this is cool?
I got a controversial one for you.
Mm-hmm.
Which
I know you do. You always do.
I always
what
do.
You
right?
got?
I'm my own worst enemy.
Feed me.
Do you feel like, we were talking about this before.
Yeah.
This might be very detrimental to our audience, but
let's see.
I think I'm just going to say that.
Yeah.
Do you think that there are agents out there that spend too much time consuming what
Content?
we put? Not just content, but going to 6 events a year.
Yeah, Daniel Kunkel Roberts specifically talked about
Yeah,
this.
and I thought it was a great point. That's
I thought
why
it was an amazing point.
It comes to mind. They buy everyone's course.
Yes.
They go in debt. They never implement anything.
I know, and there's some agents in mind for sure,
right.
as you say that.
And I don't say that as like, I
Right.
say that more of like that it hurts me.
It's kind of distressing, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like...
And that makes me wonder, like, am I part of that problem?
It's like consumerism inside the insurance space.
Yes.
Where it's like, I'm going to buy all this content. I'm going to buy everyone's lead program. I'm going to buy every course that everyone has. And I'm so focused, like, there's like getting better and like self-development. And then there's like consumerism where it's like, you're just buying stuff. Like
you get
like your books, the books that you pretend to read.
Read half of them.
Consumerism.
Read half of them. Don't quiz me on them. No, just kidding.
They're all red.
No, I think
this is a great topic, though.
No,
it's an important topic too.
I think so too. Like, I feel like they get I think there's some people out there that they get a quick dopamine hit.
Yeah.
It makes them feel like they're being productive.
Feels like you're doing something when you buy that.
Right. It feels like you're
making,
making progress.
We've all done that. We've all been there. I bought
We're
this
human.
to feel better or because I think it's going to make me better.
Yeah.
I think someone talked about that, not necessarily this specifically at the summit, but they talked about just like getting out there doing it. I almost think it was Tony maybe talking about when he first got in the industry and he was driving around in his his beater.
Right,
I think that's what it was. So again, shout out to Merwin. Again, Merwinator's taking over the show, but I was the same way too. I was driving around just an absolute beater, and it was really, it's not, you can get caught up in like, I need to have a nice car, I need to have nice clothes, I need to have the best computer before I start selling insurance. I need to have every single course so I can be an expert. But the reality is it's action that wins. It's not education. Even though education's important, right? It's like, I'm not saying don't go buy courses. Hey, shout out to Six Figure Medicare Agent University. I'm not saying don't buy these courses. I think they're beneficial, but if you don't implement anything, what's the point? You're just wasting money and time. It's gross. I don't know. And how do you fix it?
Yeah.
What do you do?
I don't think you can fix it. I mean, maybe by us talking about it, it helps somebody that struggles with it.
Yeah, I think so.
It's probably all we can do to fix it, but I don't think.
So how do you help if someone understands, so they're self-aware, they understand they have this problem, what do they do to help themselves?
Okay, I'll tell you what I started doing, because like you said, we all struggle with it. Yeah. I'm no different, right? Like I love learning things that I feel like make me better.
Yeah.
I love personal development. I love reading books. I love courses. I really like that stuff, but I'm a busy person at the same time.
Yeah.
Like at some point I got to work.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like if I sit in my office in the other room and read books all day, it doesn't pay me.
Yeah, even if you learn a bunch of great things, you know?
Exactly.
Even if it's great actionable content, but if you're not getting paid, what's the point?
Right, exactly. So like some people don't like talking about this because it's ugly, but I think it needs to be said. There's two things I want to say on this.
Yeah.
Number one, you need to be putting 80% of your time or more towards things that put money in your pocket, because money is oxygen for your business.
Yeah.
You need revenue.
Yep.
And there's people out there in our industry, no names, but there are literally people in our industry that have the mindset and the mentality that you're better off sitting on a webinar with them than writing business. And that's disgusting to me.
Yeah.
And that's so stupid. Like,
this goes way back too. I'm thinking back, like when I first got in the industry, I used to see these agents all the time too.
Yeah.
Like this isn't a new problem.
No. One last thing I'll say, and then I want to get your thoughts.
Yeah.
If this is how I would fix it, if I was struggling with it, and this is actually what I've done.
Yeah.
I'd pick 2 or 3 people that I want to listen to and learn from, and ignore everyone else.
And just hard cap right there.
Yeah. I mean, not completely ignore, but like, you know, you can see things they do from time to time.
Spending time,
but
you're investing your time in only 2 or 3 different people.
You go deep on those people.
Right.
And because the other thing too is if you have 15 mentors, they're going to contradict at some point.
Right.
And you're going to be confused.
Yeah. And
you're not going to know what to do.
Yeah.
And you're going to have analysis paralysis. Yes. And then it goes back to doing nothing.
Ugh, analysis paralysis. Yeah, I think you have to do less. You have to buy less. You have to niche down. I think so like in my personal business, anytime I spend too much time thinking about things, it affects my mood too. Like I am happiest when I am in action, right?
Right.
It's just like you thinking about the summit for 10 months was probably excruciating compared to the actual execution of it this weekend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a breeze.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Because you're doing it, you're in it. You don't really have time to think about anything because you're doing it. And that's the same way with selling insurance, guys. Like once you're knocking on the door, you're on the phone, once you're actually doing it and you're trying to figure it out, even if you fall on your face, like you're learning as you go, you have the possibility of making money. Sometimes experience is the best teacher. You know, I can't give you guys a book on how to be an experienced agent, you know, like that doesn't exist. You can't get experience from too much content, but it's a balance, because on the flip side, there's content that you should consume as an agent, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be a confusing message probably for some people.
Yeah.
There's going to be people that overthink what we're talking about, and they're like, and they're going to take it either one extreme or the other.
Sure.
Content is good.
Yeah.
Too much of anything is bad. You're drinking water. If I keep making you drink water while you're here, eventually you're gonna drown.
It's possible.
Right? Water's a good thing.
Possible.
Water is. I've been told it's good for our health. Right? Everybody tells me I should drink more water. Too much of anything is bad.
Too much of anything is bad.
Anything, even a good thing.
Yeah, I think part of what I think we're seeing too is there's so much. It's so much easier for content to get published and shared now because of technology, social media. So there's such a bigger offering of content that you can consume. So I think the problem's getting worse because there's so much content. So it really does go back to your point. I think you have to really say, okay, I like this content, I like this content, and I'm going to focus on these 2 or these 3, and then I'll move on after I feel like I've mastered this. It's the same thing, the same advice I give an agent about like multiple lines of insurance. I've sold financial products, I've sold health products, and I've sold life insurance products, but I did not do that all at once. That was over the stretch of several years of selling insurance. It started off and it was almost exclusively term life insurance. Then I started doing final expense, whole, cash value, simplified whole life policies. Then I started to do a little bit on the financial side. Then I got into Medicare. So, but that was not all at once. And I don't know. I just don't get overwhelmed. Don't do too much at once.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's really good advice. I mean, something Grant Cardone said comes to mind. Uncle G. He was talking about this 5 years ago. I very vividly remember talking, or not talking, but listening.
I remember hanging out.
I was consuming his content.
Yes, you were.
And he said something about this, and I believed it ever since because I think it makes so much sense. But like, that's where I got that attitude towards picking 2 or 3 people, right? Like you can learn a thing here and there from someone else, but like you go deep on 2 or 3 people. And he said, and once you've passed up one of them, you find somebody else, or you pick somebody that's not easy to pass. You pick someone that's like really not easy to pass, and
they're just kind of like a target, like a goal, how can I get there someday?
And he's always talked about in his videos. He's big on studying people. I'm the same way. Like I many people don't know this about me. Probably my wife knows, and probably nobody else. But I study people like very deeply. Like I get like obsessed with people. Usually it's not people I know.
Right.
But like I'll study Walt Disney.
Yeah.
For like
I
3
love
months.
Walt. Yeah.
I'll watch documentaries. I'll read books.
He was a legendary entrepreneur, and people I don't think get that. But I love the big entrepreneurs, and learning from them.
Yeah.
In the same way.
And sometimes it's people in our industry. Sometimes it's not. But like, and I just keep that to myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, and that's a real big piece of what I think motivates me to do everything that I do.
Yeah.
Because people are like, you work a lot. Why? Bobby moved here. His first day, and Stormy took him to dinner.
Yeah.
And we're driving back from dinner in the car, and he's like, so Christian, he's like, what do you do? Like on a day-to-day basis. He's like this.
This is day one.
The day one.
Day one.
He moved from Texas, by the way.
Yeah.
Bobby works in my office. Bobby's amazing. Shout out to Bobby.
Shout out to Bobby.
He was a superstar at the event this past weekend. And he goes, "What do you do, like on a day-to-day basis? Like, what do you do for fun? What do you do this?" And Stormy goes, "Huh." and I'm like, "I work.
I work for fun.
I work." And he's like, "No, but like, what are your hobbies?" I'm like, I don't have
work
hobbies,
is my hobby.
Really. I'm like, maybe I'll go to the movies like once a quarter.
You go to you take your you do take your wife out on a regular basis, which is a great thing. That's a good thing.
Probably twice a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's twice a month more than I take
like,
my wife out.
So many people are like, I have this hobby, I have that hobby, and like, I'm like, I just work. Huh. I'm always working. It feels like.
Do you? I guess while we're on this topic, when you're in these modes, because I kind of go through different phases. Like I'll go through phases where I can't not work. Mm-hmm. It's like a broken clock. I'm working 12 hours a day, even if I'm not physically working. I'm thinking about work. And a lot of times, though, I feel like I get a lot done when I go that deep. Mm-hmm. But then I have to also have the ebb on the other side, where it's like, I'm either going to go out of town or I'm going to work kind of part-time this week.
Yeah.
Because I kind of got to calibrate, like, a lot, the standard work week for a lot of people is 9 to 5, being that entrepreneur, business owners, you guys can pick your own schedule. We can pick our own schedules. We can work as much or as little as we want. So I guess what I was trying to say is, when you work a lot like this, do you envision a time, short-term future, long-term future, where you're like, okay, now that I've really built what I'm trying to build, I can kind of pull back a little bit. You're young, you're not even 30 yet. Is that kind of something you envision?
I probably should. I mean,
you're just going to the grave.
I'm a tortured soul.
Yeah, I see that.
I am. I'm a tortured soul. I really am. Like I'm my own worst critic.
Yeah.
I'm very hard on me.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about the event a few minutes ago.
Right.
And you're asking me for what went wrong, and I'm nitpicking. You're like, yeah, you are.
Yeah,
like,
you're really nitpicking yourself. Yeah.
Like, that's just how I am.
Right.
I'm just hard on me.
Right.
And it's because I have very high expectations for me.
Yeah.
not very healthy. Probably, like, I could probably, a shrink would probably have fun with me.
Oh yeah.
But they're like, what is wrong with you?
Lead Heroes will fund your shrink bill. We're sponsoring.
Brought to you by Lead Heroes.
We're sponsoring
a virtual assistant. A virtual assistant therapist.
Therapy. Watch out, BetterHelp.
Whoa.
Lead Heroes is coming for you.
Therapy Heroes.
Therapy
Heroes.
Give it to me.
It's available on GoDaddy for $5.
Are you an insurance agent and you're working 80 hours a week like Christian
Brindle.
and you hate your life?
No, you do a Justin Thomas style ad, right?
Yeah.
Right? Be like, are you working 80 hours a week and you don't have to? Are you a tortured soul?
Yeah.
Are you mad? Do your friends tell you that you YOLO, you only live once, like Lil Wayne once said?
Shout out Lil Wayne.
This is Christian. There's a picture of me. It was like that. I'm like, it's like Christian Brindle. He worked with Therapy Heroes.
I mean, I think I'm a huge believer of build early, and then, you you only live once. Shout out to me.
So,
Lil Wayne, can we get Lil Wayne? Nathan,
right there.
I want Lil Wayne.
Wheezy, baby. The Carter, what?
A million.
1, 2, 3, 4.
A million.
I'm a millionaire. I'm a young money millionaire. That's what I listen to at the gym, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
So, okay, this has gone off the rails quickly.
This is hilarious.
The event ends yesterday.
Yes.
People come up and they want to take pictures.
Yes.
Somebody tells me,
By the way,
I don't remember who it was.
Your background looked phenomenal on social media when people took pictures in front of it. I just want to say the diamonds looked really clean.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
We just got lucky. We stumbled across.
I questioned your logo choice, but then in the conference, I was like, yeah,
it worked.
Yeah, I was like,
I thought it worked.
Yeah.
I thought it worked. I wasn't sure about it either, but I'm like, well, let's change it. But so people coming up, they're taking pictures,
right?
And someone comes up to me, and a bunch of people wanted to take pictures with me and Stormy together.
King and queen.
Yeah, and so someone tells me, they're like, I hope you're going on vacation after this. And I'm like, thinking to myself, I'm like, I have a packed schedule Monday. I'm like,
I know.
And
I have the same thing too. I'm like, okay, I'm flying home tonight. I'm getting home crazy late, and I'm gonna be slammed this coming week. I'm thinking the same thing.
And so, I don't know where it ends. I don't know where. I don't know if it ends.
Can we get a tombstone? This is where it ends, Christian. You know what? We don't even need graphics for this. This is
turning into therapy. Okay?
This is where the work ends.
I was told we were going to shoot a Taco Tuesday, and we ended up in a therapy session. Okay.
Rest in peace, Christian Brindle.
CBI.
Christian. Rest in peace, Christian Brindle. This is where it ends.
This is kind of depressing. Okay?
No, I think this is an important message, not just for you, but for everybody. I'm one of the biggest workaholics I know. I'm sure there's people who work even more than I do. But the reality is, you have to also live your life. I need to erase that. That is really dark. This is
dark.
Christian's dying.
Run this as an ad.
Do you want to die like Christian? Hire a virtual assistant from Hire Heroes. You don't have to work till you're dead.
Either that or get the therapy session. Therapy Heroes.
Do you need help at work or do you need mental help?
We're here. Problems at home? Therapy Heroes.
Therapy Heroes. Marriage therapy heroes.
Marriage therapy.
Is your marriage failing because you won't stop selling insurance? Man, we got derailed there.
That really did, but I hope you guys took something away from that.
I hope you did too.
I hope you guys took something away from that.
I hope you did too.
I feel like another piece of it, right, is I don't want to say this on camera, but I'm going to.
Do it.
What if in 2 or 3 years from now, I sell my company? And then I start taking it easy. People are going to look back and be like, wow, he was a genius.
Yeah, that's my goal. Nathan knows that's why. I've talked to Nathan about a potential exit in the future and what that looks like. And honestly, part of it goes back to the mental health thing. Because if you're just on the hamster wheel every single day And even if you have like clear targets and goals, you're like, I want to hit 1 million, 5 million, 10 million, 50 million in revenue. And like, you also have to, mentally, I have to have an exit plan in place, because if I don't, I think it can affect my mood when I'm working. I want to feel like I could do something else with my life at some point. I love Lead Heroes. I love Hire Heroes. I have no intentions of selling my company right now, but then you look at someone like Galen Hendricks.
Therapy Heroes?
Therapy Heroes. That's definitely not selling you guys unless I get a crazy offer. But no, look at Galen Hendricks. Shout out to Medicare Mama. It was so great having dinner with you and meeting you. And, you know, she felt the same way. She loved her business. She was like, I'm never selling the business. But then, you know what, guys? The right price came along, and she took an exit. And how can you possibly blame her? She built an absolute empire. And then she took, and so, yeah, you know, to go back to your point, I think you could, and maybe you even should. You know, while I'm kind of talking about people, Dante Cantu. I love what he did.
I
love what he did.
Started another company.
Maybe even more money with the new company than he did with his last company.
I don't know.
But
And very successful.
Very successful.
In a very short amount of time.
What would you do? While we're on the topic, what would you do tomorrow? Let's say you got your check for whatever the number is, okay? And you are literally closing the doors on this place tomorrow. What do you do? This is terrifying. I've tried mentally to go there. It's terrifying.
This is getting therapy.
What is
therapy?
With your life?
This isn't Taco Tuesday. This is therapy.
Therapy? I'm announcing Therapy Heroes right here.
It's like the promo video.
I'm about to buy the domain. Or very close to me actually buying the domain on Taco Tuesday. This is for legit.
I got a tombstone on here. I'm selling.
I'm trying to scare him. I'm trying to
I'm closing the doors of the office. Like, this is getting some deep.
No, but this is totally legitimate for anybody who watches our content, for insurance agents who are building out a book of business and they're looking at taking an exit. I know so many agents who have exited. Great agents who love the business, who've built great companies, and they have taken an exit. So this is totally relevant. This isn't just Christian therapy hour. You're taking it personally because you need help.
Okay, so the first thing that comes to mind.
Yes.
I have gone on like very short trips with my wife.
Okay.
Years apart usually.
Yeah.
So like we've probably gone on more in the last 2 years than we have our entire marriage.
So you're traveling
which is very, very, very sad if you think about it. We went to Vegas for 4 days in February, and we went to Florida for 3 days last year. That's the most vacations we've had in years.
Wonder why, Christian? It's not the money, is it?
No.
You workaholic.
and we go on the vacation. I'm coming back to. I'll answer the question. I'm coming back to it. But we go on the vacation last year, and the first 6 hours I'm with Medicare Bob, and my wife is like, "When are we gonna go do something?" And then we're with Brad Hannon, and it's a problem. Okay.
I'm laughing because I do the same thing. I took my wife to Vegas this year. I promised her it'd be like a vacation. And honey, it was. You know, it was a version of a vacation, but work did kind of take over.
It sprung its ugly head.
I'm projecting on you, okay? The therapy here, it's all projection, okay?
So I didn't see that, but now I see it.
Yeah,
We need. You can't just be the founder. You need to be a client. But anyway, of Therapy Heroes. So
I'm literally pulling the domain.
I would probably take like 6 months and go on like a bunch of trips with my wife. That's probably
international. You travel internationally.
I have gone to out of the country. I have.
Therapy Heroes is taking you guys. Dang. The whole business just.
But that's probably what I would do because I feel like she deserves that, and I feel like I am very tightly wound, and I probably need to be unwound a little bit. And I think that would be
you're not tightly wound. So this reminds me of the Super Bowl commercial. I think it was like Travelpedia, right? It was one of the travel companies. And they did, it was Ewan McGregor. It was Obi-Wan Kenobi. Do you remember this? The Super Bowl commercial?
No, I didn't see it.
He's like walking through like these like doors.
I didn't watch the whole Super Bowl. I was sending emails. We just need to turn it off right now.
No, this has to get out to the public. The public has to know how much of a workaholic you truly are, and myself, that we both are.
A couple people said it from stage. I'm like, don't tell everyone.
It's my secret.
Shut up.
I pretend I don't.
You know that scene in Wolf of Wall Street? Yeah. I want them to want to live like me. You know.
I'm so derailed now. The commercial. Okay, so he's walking through these doors, and the last door is he's walking on the beach, and he's like, "Do you think you'll ever regret spending money and time on travel?" And it's a travel company. Great commercial. I'm talking about it now. Did you see that one? Mm-hmm. Nathan saw it. Maybe we can have it right here. Play. It's like just cut back, but I think that's a great answer because you'll never regret it, and you're only going to see the world once, you know, mm-hmm. It's so good. Like everyone that I've talked to that's traveled internationally, they typically come back like super humbled by the experience, and like you realize how much you're taking for granted. I mean, when I went to the Philippines, that's how it was.
Yeah. I went to Malaysia in my second year in the business when I didn't have nearly the responsibility that I have now.
Yeah.
And it was a super experience.
Yeah.
Like it really was. And so, granted, I had a guide, and I'd be terrified to go there without a guide.
Yeah.
I'd end up like kidnapped or something.
Right.
But that's a story for another day. We probably do some cruises. Like my wife and I went on a cruise on our honeymoon, and she loved it. And she was like, "We need to do this all the time," and we have not gone back to any cruises.
I haven't cruised in like 10 years. I would love to go on a cruise. First one to go on a cruise loses.
Oh my!
You're gonna be like, "Hey, I just booked a cruise." I'm like, "You lost. You quit."
$300 in leads.
Oh, the Celtics.
Or therapy sessions.
$300 in free therapy. That's what this is. I'm paying you back right now in therapy.
Yes.